Hello everyone, welcome back to the Scrap Zone. I'm Julie and welcome back to the 365-day project. This is a project that I've been collaborating with my very good friend Janice all year long in 2022. If you're just catching this project, we have been creating layouts every month. We have been using a color chart system to identify the weather every day in both of our countries. I'm from Canada, she's from Australia, of course, and it has been really enlightening to see the differences in temperature in both of our countries. Now, this is the last process video for this project, and we are going to wrap it up with doing a cover page and a back page. So this overlay here is done in Cricut, and the Cricut file is available. You'll have to check those details down below. If you don't have a Cricut, for the most part, I did not use any cutting machines. I used dies, I used traditional scrapbooking on my end, and Janice primarily used Cricut, but for this page here, it was so pretty that I definitely wanted to do this really great overlay, and this is going to be my front page. Again, if you don't have a Cricut, you can definitely go in your stash. I have these are really old, but do you see the size of the numbers? Now you could go ahead, you could stamp that, and you could put it on your 4x4 photo the way that we have it here, and that would work really nicely. Now I'm actually really glad that I kept this in my stash because I think that it works perfectly. I went with black and white because I really want to show the colors that we've been using all year long. Now, all year long, I've been taking photos kind of at the same location, and these are looking up at the trees as they change throughout the season. So this is winter, spring, summer, of course, and fall. And this is going to be my first page. Here you have the color chart that we've used throughout the year. And it's all done out of cardstock, and it's a really nice little indicator of how this project works. The last page will consist of these two photos and a journaling photo in the center, documenting this project and my process with Janice. We have some highlights, so these are tiny little photos. This has been repeated here, and this is going to be a pocket where these are going to go into. So you've got the white going on, that's fine. I'm thinking that this is too much white on white. I did audition a few other pattern papers. Let me get them for you. So this is from the Love Story Black and White collection, and I'm thinking this would work. It's very subdued, but it might work. Or these little kind of flowers, because they also remind me of snowflakes. So I'm going to see which of these two work, and I will definitely be hollowing out this paper, and I might just bring this paper at the forefront. That might work as well. So I'm going to clear off my area right here, and I'm going to start adhering this page down, which will come together very nicely. I will be stamping right here on top 365 days of weather 2022. So that's going to kind of give you a nice indication of what's happening for this project. And here at the back of the album, I tried to collect all of the selfies that me and my husband took throughout the year, and I think it's a really nice way to finish off this book. So as you can see, these pages, it's the colors that are really popping off, not so much the pattern paper. The last embellishment that's going to go on these pages are this gorgeous camera, which has been stamped and colored with tri-blend markers. So if you want to see the tri-blend markers that I've used, they're listed right here. And if you want to see how I did that, just head on over to the end of this video. I am not going to waste all of this gorgeous paper, so I'm going to push this to the 1-inch mark. I'm going to leave myself a 1-inch border all the way around. So I'm going to start right here at 1, go all the way down to 11. I'm going to do this for both of these base pages. And then I'm going to have some really good usable pieces for another project, or you know, I like this so much that I think I'm going to use it for the little pocket for the back page. So I'm going to go ahead I wasn't gonna. Do you have those papers where you just don't want to cut into them because they are so pretty? This was definitely one of them, and I'm really glad that I kept it, because I really do find that the black and white looks stunning for these layouts. And then see, I've got this really good piece right here that I can still use for another layout. Let me just move that out of the way. I can bring these pieces back in, my overlay, and I've got my camera that is all ready to go. So this is going to look really good. I'm going to add my little camera right here at the top, and then I'm going to use this small, it's called Modern Typewriter Alphabet. So anything small that you have, and I'm going to make sure everything is adhere down or position. I'm going to make sure everything is positioned where I would like it to be. And I know that that camera is going to go right here. And I'm just going to start right here with my title, and I'm just going to let it run across the top. So we're going to do that. I'm going to use Archival black ink because I find that it's nice and rich when you use that ink. So let's go ahead and stamp that title before we adhere everything down. And I'm going to move this out of the way. It'll probably be easier for you to see. And I'm just going to use this as a guide to start my stamping. Let me show you the stamping. I really did have to get my head right over the camera, so there was no sense in filming that, but I really like the look of it, and the camera is going to go right here. So I'm going to go ahead, I am going to adhere this down, and we're going to work on the second page, but this looks really good. I really like the way this overlay is working on this page. I like my photos. And yes, this was a year-long commitment, and I knew that this page, we had talked about it maybe, I had this photo right here. I remember when we started, I had this photo right here. And then when we were talking about the project, I thought, oh, wouldn't it be great to take photos for every season since we are documenting the weather? So I tried really hard to stand exactly at the same location, which I wasn't able to, but I still think that it looks really good. I'm going to bring out my trusty mat just to make sure that I line everything up. I'm just going to place my border right here. And there is a direction, so let's make sure that clock is going in the right direction. Okie doke. And then I'm going to pop this right here. Now for the overlay, I am going to, I think I'm going to lightly tack it down at the top. And then I'll be able to lift it to put my photos underneath. So just make sure I'm all lined up. Just like so. I'm going to push this down. And then I'm going to start layering my photos, or I'm going to sneak them underneath. These two photos at the bottom really represent the changing of the trees here in Canada. So I'm liking how that is. So I'm going to go ahead and add more tape just along the edges here, just to secure this down. And at the bottom. And I'm just going to lay that flat. I'm going to add the border that was created here, just like so. But I think I'm going to use 3D foam tape for both of these elements. So let's work on the back page together. All right, so I've gone ahead, I've hollowed out that piece. And if I look at the pieces for the pocket, they are definitely a little bit longer. And I'm sure that Janice caught that right away when I was thinking of keeping this inside piece for the pocket. I like the white for here, but I just feel that the pocket needs a little something something. So it is not big enough, but I could move this up and take advantage of this detail here. So there's a draw line in the Cricut file. So I could do that. So it would be a tiny little bit smaller. I could do a smaller margin. And then I could use this piece, or I keep it to its original format and I introduce this one, which I like as well. I really do like that. So you know what? I think I'm going to keep this for something else, because it is a very good piece and I have two of these. And I think that the difference in the pattern here, although it's small, I wanted to make sure to keep with a small pattern, but I think this one here, now that I'm looking at it, I like it much better. This here, the grid kind of hurts my eyes when I look at it. This here is a little bit softer and it's in between flowers and snowflakes. I think that that's going to work. So I am going to recut this piece in this pattern paper and we're going to do the assembly. This is going to be really, really quick. Okay, so let's take a look at this, and I think that the addition of the pattern is going to be really, really good. Okay, so let's look at the pieces before I adhere everything down. I really like the border again. I like the brightness of the white. And then when I bring in this pattern, it's a slightly different pattern, but it just really complements everything. I'm going to add my little photos. So I'm going to add my photos down here. I'm going to slightly overlap, but you've got January, the beginning of March, and then the summer, which is nice because it's right in the middle. And then you have September, and then back into December. Okay, so I've got my three pieces. This one's been hollowed out for the back. And then it's a case of adding this one right here on the front with this and my two charts right like that. So we're going to adhere this one right. And I'm not even adding any ink distressing on it at all. I think that the pure black and white is such a nice effect against all of these colors right here. The photos really, really pop. So I am going to just go with that look. Just want to make sure that this is straight. So this is going to act as a pocket, which is kind of neat. At Janice and her designs, they're always so good. So good. So this is going to go right on top, just like so. I think I'm going to use thin 3D foam tape, because you see how this is actually a little bit difficult, you know, like once I slide these in. I guess I envision when people go through this album that they may go at the back of the book and pull these out and kind of look at the layout and kind of see what kind of temperature we were dealing with in that particular month. So this is all going to be pull outs, and I could definitely add more photos here, so something to think about. But I am going to add thin 3D foam tape just to give it a little bit more room to kind of grab your photos. So I am using the narrow and the thin 3D foam tape. I like to use that when I make little pockets. So I'm going to just put it all around here. I'm not entirely sure if this is how Janice envisioned this layout. we'll see what she comes up with. So one thing, because we are scrapbooking in real time, I don't get to see her layout. I get to see it at the same time as you do. And it's always nice to see how she's handle some of these crafty decisions. Like for me here, I'm creating a pocket with 3D foam tape. I am going to cut into my page protector so that you have access to it. So it's always interesting to see how we both do our work. So now I find that you've got a little bit more room to slide these in. And let's not forget there'll be a journaling card. And the journaling card is going to talk about this project because it was a really fun project to make with her. And I'm glad that she indulged me because this was a big commitment. It was a year-long commitment, and we got it done, Janice. I hope you're happy with your scrapbook for 2022. Because I have to say that I'm very happy with how this turned out. All right, I'm going to stop babbling here and I'm going to finish this layout. And I will show you the completed pages and how they're going to live inside my book. So the only thing I have to do next is stamp. I don't even know if I need highlights. You know what? I think I am not going to put highlights. And Janice is probably going to think, wasn't that your idea? Yes, it was, but because I'm using a pattern paper right here and I've moved everything up, I want to see the little flowers at the bottom. I'm going to omit stamping the highlights, and I'm just going to adhere down my photos. And we're going to call that good. Let's put the page in. Let's put this in. Let's start with the pocket. Okie doke. That goes down here. So let me bring this page back in. And again, not that it's going to make a huge difference because this is going to be at the back of the book, but this one is going to be done in this orientation, starting with January, and then I'm going to end here. So when you put them side by side, the middle is going to be the darkest shade, which here in Canada, we don't get anywhere near that temperature. I was hoping to hit Paprika, and I did, but the Scarlet, nope, did not happen. These two colors right here. But we did hit the black, which was the -30, and it actually was a lot colder than that. But these temperatures, or these colors right here, were primarily added to this project for Janice because she was hoping to hit those, and for whatever reason, the weather in Australia was not as warm as it normally is. So I don't even think she actually got to 45. I might be mistaken. I don't remember seeing that. But this is how I'm going to lay them inside the book, and they're going to be front to back, so you're not really going to see that. But if you were to put them side by side in your album, depending on how you set up your album, this is how it would look. Okay, I just had to kind of play with the photos so that, you know, the angle and not hiding too much. I'm really liking this. I'm going to show you very quickly, I'm going to speed this up, but I'm going to show you very quickly how I colored in this camera. So I started with the True Blue Blend, and this is the light shade. I'm just going to add this all in the center. One coat only, and then I'm going to add a little bit of gray light light color, and I'm going to just shade that in. And I'm going to add it to my layout right here. So I am just going to fussy cut. And if you are a regular on my channel, you know that I am left-handed and I do not like to fussy cut at all. Okay, so the last thing is to add this camera. I know that these are going to pull out from the page protector, so I'm thinking that I want to add the camera up here because there's going to be a slit and I would not be able to cut through my page protector if I added the camera here as per the sketch. So I am going to add it up here. This pocket is going to hold the journaling to complete this story and this album. And I talk about how this project came about. I talk about working with Janice because that was definitely a highlight for me. And there's nothing like a crafty friend, you know, to go along a whole year with your crazy ideas. But I think at the end, it's a really cool album. I want to be able to access those and take them out. So I'm going to slide this into the page protector. And we're going to cut an opening. So you just have to make sure that everything goes all the way to the bottom and that your holes are on the right side. So you know what I just noticed? Is that when I tap these down, these are going to go all the way down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another piece of foam tape right here so that it acts as a little stopper. I didn't think of that. And then those are visible. They don't just fall into the pocket. So I will correct that. So for now, let me show you how I'm going to open this up. So I want to make sure that my holes are in the right side. So this is definitely the last page. And here I'm going to have my December page. So I am going to take my ruler and I am going to kind of make a line. So I'm going to start from this pencil line here, or this pen line, and I'm just going to run this with my bone folder. And it's going to leave a mark on the page protector. I'm going to remove this out of the protector. And this is really hard to show you, but there is a very faint line here, and I can see where it starts and where it ends. Now, I found that using my cutting mat for this works really, really well. So I'm going to sneak that here. I'm going to have to move it along. So I'm going to sneak that here, and I'm going to use, this is just like a circle punch, but you can go anywhere. I really like this one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start off my line with a hole or a circle if you want. And basically what that does is that it prevents the cut from going or extending on the page protector. So that is a good thing. Now, because I have a very faint line that I did with my bone folder, I can see where I need to cut. I'm going to cut here, and then I'm going to move my cutting mat, and I'm going to use my little circle punch right here. And I'm going to go right into it. It makes a little circle. And then I'm going to make sure that I am cutting at the right spot. I just want to make sure that I am continuing on, right like so. Okay, so then now we have an opening for our layout. So let me slide that back in. Just like so. And then these are now accessible from the front of the page protector. 1, 2, and 3. And then now you can pull these out of your page protector. I'm definitely going to add a little stopper right here, but for now, this is how you open up your page protector to access little goodies inside. Let's bring back layout number 1. So this is how the book is going to start. I really, really like the way that this turned out. It's super simple, but very effective. So once again, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with us the entire year. This was such a fun project to make, and both Janice and I decided that we would do an album flip through and go through the entire project. So we will do that very shortly. I still have to do a little bit of journaling on some of my pages, but for the most part, everything is done. So this is the completion of the first page and the last page and this project. Now head on over to Janice's channel and see how she created her front page and her back page. Have yourself a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye for now.